Nora Fatehi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I am so excited and at the same time relieved that this is finally happening. Because I feel like as much as the world knows about you, you're still an enigma.
Really?
Yeah.
In this day and age, I don't know if anyone can be with social media and stuff.
I feel like you are to an extent because I think you let people see how much you want them to see of you, as everybody does as well. How hard is it being Nora Fatehi?
Oh wow, nobody's ever asked me that question. It's hard, but it's also fun. So it's got different like dimensions to it. You know, it can get really crazy, it can get really dangerous, it can get really exciting, it can get really tiring, you know, sometimes. But I'm not one to complain at all because I wished for this, you know, I always wanted this. And this does come with a lot, you know, and you got to be prepared for everything, the good, the bad, the evil, and the amazing moments also.
So when you're like, I guess, maneuvering all those things, the good, the bad, the evil, the exciting, all of those things, do you never sit back and wonder, is this really worth it?
No, because when you are doing something that you love and you're doing something that you know you are meant to do, because like everybody who's really successful in their field, no matter what field it is, and they're naturally just good at their job, they know that, okay, this is what I'm meant to do, right? So you don't really think about what's the end of this all, like, is it going to be worth it or not? The fact that you're within the journey itself and you're reaching every milestone and every achievement and you're enjoying certain moments, and it's not just the moments of the success of it all, but even the moment with your team when you create certain visions. Like everyone in my team has a certain vision, whether it's like the aesthetic department, the styling department, the choreography department, and then when it all comes alive, for us, it's always worth it. Always worth it.
But you know how you said to me, you knew you were always supposed to do this? Everybody told you you weren't.
Yeah.
Everybody in your life told you you are not supposed to do this.
Right, yeah.
You are not supposed to dance. You are not supposed to sing. You are not supposed to enjoy doing something that you feel so passionately about. So when the world's telling you you are not supposed to do this, how do you tell yourself that you are?
I think I always, I think I was born with self-belief, like immense self-belief. This sort of confidence, I don't know where I got it from. But
Where did you get it from? Like, what were you watching?
I don't know from where, but there's this alter ego of mine that tells me you are the shit, like it's you and there's nobody else, you know, and you can do it. And I think that voice inside that always hypes me up, like my inner hype man, I would like to call it, you know, really makes me block out all the noise. And it does sometimes discourage me when I hear someone say something like that, but then I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh my God, girl, you got this. Look at you, you know, look how you move. Like, and I give myself so much credit that a lot of the things that I do are not even trained. Like I always taught myself things. So if I gravitate towards, you know, dance, music, art, cinema, films, acting, and I understand it, and my brain visualizes things, and I do them with my body, you know, and just with my whole persona, I know that this is me. Like, this is correct. So if anyone says I can't do it, like, for example, the girls in my school, in my middle school, used to bully me and say, you can't dance. But that one move I knew, I was like, but I can do this one move very good.
What was that one move?
It's just a hip move, you know?
It was just a tumka.
One tumka, and I'm like, but it's like, it's clean, it's nice, you know? I look great doing it. So I just always, if someone gave me a negative response, I always battled it with like triple positive response, you know, and that's because I was just always feeling myself.
But you know, you've got to have like crazy levels, like you said, you're your own hype man, but you've got to have like crazy levels of self-confidence to do that.
You have to, and I'm telling you, I built this during my school days, like when I was in middle school, high school, because I was always the first one up on stage for all our school events. And you know, when it's like the school event and all the students of the entire school are watching you and you gotta perform, you know, and everyone's showcasing some talent of theirs. No matter how much someone would laugh at me or would be like, oh, she's not all that, I always stood on top of that stage thinking I am the diva.
And what would you perform?
Everything. I'd perform, like, I remember I performed Oh, this is so funny. My first performance was Mahive, Shah Rukh's song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with a couple of girls, and then we mixed it with like this Arabic song, some old Egyptian song. And that was my first performance. We were wearing like lehengas and stuff, and I was moving around that stage like the star, you know, even though I was a little kid, right? And I owned it. And I remember I danced to Ajana Chale also a couple years later, and Dola Re Dola with my friends, and we constantly would perform on stage, you know. And I remember once I danced to some Amar Diab song, like an old Egyptian song.
Yeah.
And I mixed it with Toxic, Britney Spears song. I was in another world. Like, I was in La La Land, and I loved it because that's what built my confidence. That's what allowed me to understand stage, allowed me to understand how to work an audience, you know, at a very young age, even though there was nobody to teach me that. But I think moving through it was basically learning on set. That's how I like to call it, you know.
Because you don't have any connections to any film industry anywhere in the world, let alone Bollywood. I mean, you're not even Indian, right? That's the first challenge you're facing, is you're not of the ethnicity that the majority of the actors in this place are. Then you're not from any families linked to anybody who might know somebody. You don't speak the language as your native mother tongue. You don't look traditionally Indian either, a little bit, but not traditionally Indian. Where the hell do you start? Like, where do you even start and think, I can do this?
Because, first of all, if we speak about the look, maybe not traditionally Indian, but what is traditionally Indian? Like, India is such a big country with different skin tones, different features, different hair textures. Like, one look is not Indian. We have North Indians that look a specific way. A lot of them do look like me. Then you have South Indians who their skin color is different, their features are different. And then you have like Northeastern Indians who, you know, look totally different. So I don't think there's a standard aesthetic to what an Indian would look like. And
There is a standard aesthetic to what Bollywood looks like.
Yeah,
though.
and we know what that is, right?
Light skin?
Yeah, right? And
long
like
hair?
certain feetures, you know, big eyes, you know, sharp features. And some may argue that's not Indian, right? Some may argue that is ambiguous in ethnicity. But I mean, who are we to judge that? Because India, it's a mixture of features, and we should celebrate all of that. And I remember when we did not Dance Meri Rani, we were in my vlog, we were talking about the curly hair, the Afro vibe, and the Afro aesthetics that we added in the music video, and celebrating that. But at the same time, we discussed that there are a lot of Indian girls also who have curly hair, Afro-like hair, and you know, they may not be celebrated in our industry much, but they are beautiful, and I'm always hyping that up, that kind of aesthetic. But to go back to what an Indian person looks like, I mean, there isn't one example. There's just so many, and I've seen Indian girls who shared my aesthetics, my features also. So I always thought I could blend in. I mean, I came in a time where Katrina Kaif was, you know, taking over, and I would be like, okay, well, you know, we don't look that different, you know. So I never felt insecure that, oh my God, I look like an outsider. No, I'm not Caucasian, you know. I'm not a white girl. At the end of the day, I'm a North African Moroccan woman, and a lot of Moroccan women do look Indian, and a lot of Indian girls do look Moroccan too, you know, and Middle Eastern. So we all do share a lot of genetics. So I never felt insecure about that, but I did feel insecure about other things, like the fact that I landed in Bombay and I didn't know Hindi. I didn't know the language, and at that age, I'm like, do I need to learn another language now? Like, am I going to be able to? Because they say when you're younger, then you can pick up faster languages. But then when I was like listening to people speak, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of similarities with Hindi, Urdu, and Arabic. I know a couple of words that are exactly in Hindi, so let me push myself, let me do this, you know. And I think there was a point when, I think my second month in India, I was like, okay, Nora, if you're gonna do this, then you gotta go all out. You need to change the way you speak. You need to tone down that Canadian accent. You need to tone down your body language. It's gotta go more with, you need to assimilate with the environment.
Isn't that includes
no, it's not. That includes learning the language. That includes, you know, learning the traditions, the cultures, assimilating with people, you know. letting them feel like you're one of them. There's nothing wrong with that.
But having to tone down your own identity to fit in somewhere else.
But that's not necessarily my identity. My identity is very diverse and very exotic. I'm someone who, yes, I was born and raised in Toronto, in Jane and Finch, the hood. Shout out, Jane and Finch. And we have a certain way of speaking. Our body language is very urban. It's very this, very that. Yes, but at the same time, I'm also Moroccan, right? So when I go to Morocco for my summer vacations, I have to now speak Darija, and I have to, like, you know, tone down the Toronto-ness of it all and be more Moroccan and, you know, assimilate. And even when I lived in Saudi for 3 years, when I was like 15 years old, I learned Arabic there. I learned the different dialects of Arabic, and I assimilated within that world too, you know. So I am someone who's like a chameleon. Wherever I go, I have to understand my environment, respect my environment, and assimilate to that. It's also a form of respect too. And I knew if I'm going to come into this industry, I should not allow anyone to have one thing to speak about me. They shouldn't say, no, she doesn't know the language. No, she doesn't fit in. No, she doesn't get it. You know, I need to be the one that gets it in order for me to grab the opportunities that I knew I was capable of.
But that's because the challenge for you is so much harder as an outsider, right? That's because you're not going to get a second opportunity, a third opportunity if you fail at the first hurdle. So you have to make sure all those things are you're at your A game for every single one of those. That's a lot of pressure on you as a young woman going to a country that you're not familiar with, trying to build a life for yourself in a space that hasn't traditionally been welcoming. I know there's exceptions like Katrina, but it's not traditionally welcoming.
It's not, yeah, it's fact. Like, we should not beat around the bush. It is what it is. It is hard. It's not traditionally welcoming, but when they welcome you with open arms. But you got to prove yourself. That's the thing. And I remember those years that I was sitting in my room in Mumbai, just watching things on TV, like the reality shows, the you know, like the Jhalak, you know, the Big Boss, and all these things. I used to watch and be like, and then I'd watch all the songs of, you know, the movies that would come up, and I'd be like, okay, so what's the deal here now? I need to be prepared for an opportunity that may come. So we don't know when it's coming. It could be tomorrow, it could be next year, we don't know. And it's true, whatever opportunities I got have been very last minute. And thankfully I was prepared. So what I would do in that room, I wouldn't go out and socialize and party like all the other girls did and enjoy and have a boyfriend and live life. I would lock myself in that room every day, learn the language, watch TV, watch everything, and practice in my room, prepare, learn, dress up a certain way, change my body language, learn the different styles, watch YouTube videos, prepare myself for when the opportunity comes. So when it comes, like you said, you only get one chance, right? After that, they're like, okay, move on, right? Next. I need to blow anybody away that I have to blow away.
You know, what you mentioned there is really interesting about focusing on the work, not spending time socializing, partying, doing everything that people traditionally associate with Bollywood, right? 'Cause they think it's a rock and roll lifestyle, like they think everybody's a diva. No. But actually, when you put your head down and you work with blinkers on, people think you're a bitch. Like, the truth is...
Yes. And maybe the people do think I'm a bitch sometimes, and they say I'm difficult, and people do say I get hyper at work and stuff, and I'll explain that. I am someone who's going on a tunnel vision, and my engines are running 24/7. I wake up work, I sleep work. There's nothing else I have in my life but that. And I'm very proud of that. Yes, I have sacrificed so much. Like, just the other day, I put up a vlog of my best friend's wedding. I don't know if you saw something like that.
She's British,
yes,
right?
Isha. Yes. So I put it up, and while I was editing, I was like, damn, I missed out on a lot in my 20s. I missed out on my best friend's weddings, births, anniversaries, birthdays, my brother's wedding, my brother's birthday. I missed out on everything because I was in that room, locked up, studying, working hard, learning, preparing myself for that opportunity. And it's a sacrifice I had to make. And because I sacrificed such a big chunk of my life, at work, I am a bitch a little bit. I am difficult because I don't expect anything but the best, because I sacrificed so much. And when I go in front of the camera or when I'm on stage, I don't leave any crumbs. You know, I eat. So the fact that I do that, I expect the people at work with me should do the same. Nobody should come half-hearted, because I don't half-heart it when I'm in front of the camera or when I'm on stage. So my expectation for delivery is here.
Please eat and leave no crumbs, because these are for you. Because this girl smashed it last night. Let's get a unanimous round of applause. Oh my God. Like,
I love cookies.
I don't have the words. Like, you on stage at IIFA 2023, you were mesmerizing.
Thank you.
You were on fire. You were paying tribute to Helen, who is one of the greatest, if not the greatest dancer in Hindi film history, known for her cabaret numbers, known for being an outsider who was not from India, who could not speak the language, who came and absolutely owned that stage. And that's what you did last night.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you have no idea what that means. Ugh, this in itself, the way you presented it is an accomplishment, and that's what I work for. Helen is someone who, we talk about me like, oh, I came from outside and I did this, I did that. I'm the first. I'm the first in my era, yes. But she was the first OG to do it. Like when I read about her story and I understood what kind of things she went through, it was a difficult time. It wasn't easy to come from a different country as a refugee and get into the industry, and that too as a performer, right? She just owned it.
Yeah.
She changed cinema. She changed what performances are and made all the other heroines like shiver in their boots because all of them suddenly wanted to do what she was doing. But guess what? It's not something you can learn. That is something you're born with. That charisma, that aura, you know, it is something that God gives to you, you know.
Okay, so I'm not saying this because you're sat here, but the team here will vouch for it. When I met you on Thursday at the press conference or after the press conference, later that evening we were sat and, you know, you sit with your team and you debrief the day, like, what was so-and-so like, what was so-and-so like. And my exact words were, she has it. She has it. She has that star aura. She walks into a room, you know a star has arrived. Are you born with it or have you built it?
I think I was born with it. Because I go back to like when I was like 12 and 14 and I just behaved like that in school.
How can
like,
you were working
the audacity I had, you know?
You were working in a shisha lounge at one point, right?
Yeah.
How the hell do you walk like a star, act like a star when you're working in a shisha lounge?
It's a thing. You just pick up the shisha. You're like, here's your shisha. How is it? Yes. Okay. See you later. You know, it's this energy you bring. You know, and I'm not even gonna lie. Even my friend circle, like I have friends from back in the day who are still my friends now. They have that energy too. So we were just a bunch of stars, my little group, all of us, you know, in our own right. So we feed off each other's energy, you know. And like one of my friends, Bai, who I think you must have met her, she was here too. So she has that energy, that infectious star energy. She's really good with people.
Was she wearing the headscarf?
Yeah.
She's got it.
She'll walk into a room and she'll make you feel like you've been friends for 10 years. You know, she's got it. And I witnessed that growing up. So it's things you pick up from your environment, you know. And it didn't matter if I was working in a shawarma shop or I was working in a shisha shop. I did, of course I did. Yeah, I worked everywhere. Like I worked at McDonald's. I worked in a call center. Even when I worked in a call center and I was doing cold calling, I would cold call like a star. Hey, so I think I knew the person.
What were you selling?
Lottery tickets. So bad, but yeah.
But you know, it's this journey, it's this hustle that makes you so relatable to so many people. And I think in this generation, you have become the voice of normal people. Like you've become the voice of that girl sitting in Hounslow in West London who is dreaming that one day she could make it. And right now she's working in a shawarma shop, you know?
Right, yeah, yes, yeah, that was me. I did everything because, you know, I had to hustle, I had to make ends meet. And anyways, in Toronto, in London, like it's normal to work.
Yeah.
You know, you work when you go to school also. Like my first job was at a men's clothing store at a mall next to my school. So after we finished school, I'd go to the mall and start my shift. And I think it really helped me with my people skills, how to communicate, how to speak, how to welcome people. These things are very important, you know, it differentiates you from others. And I think that's a skill that I'm very proud of. But, you know, going back to the performance that I did for Helen's songs, I just can't tell you how much of a dream come true that was for me, you know. I always wanted, it's nice to perform on your own songs and perform as you know. You own that.
Yeah.
But to just change your aura and demeanor for that 10 minutes and embody the spirit of that era and those songs, because every song has a theme, and that every song you have to perform according to that theme of that song. So that requires different type of body language, facial expressions. And I had to really learn that.
Whether it was Aaj Ki Raat or Ye Mera Dil or Piya Tu Ab To Aaja, you got her expression so perfect. You got her movement so perfect. How did you get to the point of making sure that it was spotless the way it was?
I really studied all her videos properly, and when we were choreographing, I told Sneha, who choreographed with me, that I want to embody not just the steps. It shouldn't be the 1, 2, 1, 2. It needs to be even the breathing spaces of the shoulder movements and the hands and just the aura. I told her I want to embody the spirit of Helen as much as possible. Obviously, no one will ever be able to embody it 100%, but just to do it justice and to respect the art that she gave the industry, the art form of cabaret. And I always go back to saying the body language, because with every style, the body language changes.
Yeah.
And last night, I had to be feminine, I had to be poised, I had to be very flirty, and I had to own it. And that's what she did in all her songs. She was just, like, she was something.
Like Ye Mera Dil, it's more of this kind of sexy, seductive dance.
Yes.
Whereas Piya Tu Ab To Aaja, she's working the crowd.
Yes, and she's longing
Yeah.
for her lover, you know, and her moves are big and exaggerated, and she's out of breath a lot, and it's also sexy, but it has a story to it. There's an emotion to it, and I understood it, and I said I need to bring it up on stage. And if you felt like I did even 50% of that yesterday, it's a huge accomplishment for me.
You did way more than 50%. I was just thinking, actually, if they were ever to make a biopic on the life of Helen, you know, we know that Bollywood loves making films that celebrate the lives of actors like Helen, who have these great stories to tell as well. Would you want to play Helen on screen?
Of course, that would be an honor. I mean, if the filmmakers ever think of me, because I feel like we have so many similarities. She came from a different country, I did. It was tough for both of us. We were introduced to the world through dance, and that too in a different genre of dance. We changed what dance meant in cinema. She was also someone, like you said, they would bring her in a film that would help them, and kind of, it's like we're mirroring each other's lives. And I know she must have gone through a really hard time in the industry. She must have also wanted to do lead roles, heroine roles. They must have also thought, no, you're just good for songs. She must have gone through it too, and I understand what that feels like. And I think if anyone would need to embody that and really show what that emotion is, I think I would really be able to connect with that. But of course, it would be an honor.
I want to manifest it right now. I want Nora Fatehi playing Helen on the big screen. That would be amazing.
I would die. That would be, that for me, I would pack up after that. I'd be like, I'm done. I did what I came to do. But it's a huge responsibility to do a biopic of somebody. A lot of people, it doesn't work out for them. But if I ever get the chance, I would give it my all for sure.
You put in the work where at a time where you could probably take your foot off the gas slightly. You've got enough of a reputation now as Nora Fatehi to be able to relax and let the name do the talking more.
Think?
I think so. I mean, you've got what, like nearly 50 million followers on Instagram, right? You've got this global fan following. I was looking actually, I was looking on YouTube just a little while ago, and I've got it here. Like your songs on YouTube, what are we at? So we've got Manike 200 million, we've got Kusu Kusu 500 million, we've got Dilbar 1.2 billion. Like, doesn't your name do enough of the talking now?
I think the reason why those numbers are there is because of the hard work I put in. And Nora exists because of the hard work. So if I stop doing that hard work, I don't think I will exist as Nora Fatehi anymore. And I have to remember that all the time. The minute I take it for granted, it will disappear.
This is an exhausting life to live.
It is, but I asked for it, and I love it, and I love giving to my fans because they give so much back to me, and I love every milestone I reach and every achievement we do. It's a high for me, you know, just for example, reaching FIFA World Cup, you know, and being the performer there, closing ceremony, singing the anthem. These achievements is what I live for. This is what I live for. So if I don't work hard to reach these achievements, then I'll just like go back to McDonald's or something.
You know how you mentioned your vlog a few minutes ago? Your vlog is so interesting because I love the fact that you document your journey on social media and you are so real with it. What caught me the most was that you said you edit it yourself.
Yeah, I sit with Anup and Steven, my content team, and we sit and we edit and we choose what we want. I do the lineup with them. I tell them exactly what I envision the vlog should be, which moments, because I remember everything that they shoot. So I'll be like, guys, remember that moment when you were standing here with the camera and this conversation was happening? I want that. In the
No
edit.
way.
Like, I remember I'm like, I'm a psychopath. Like, I see everything.
When do you switch off?
I've never switched off. Never. Like, never.
You know, the other thing that's really interesting, because I want to pick up on a couple of things we mentioned. I didn't realize that you'd also lived in Saudi for 3 years
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Yeah.
At what point in your life
I
was
was
that?
14, so going on to 14, 15, 16 I left, I went back to Toronto.
Okay, so I don't know how conservative a part of Saudi you lived in.
Jeddah.
Okay, so is that very conservative?
Yeah,
or-
that time was like crazy conservative,
Okay.
100%, yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I mean, it's open now, it's changed, but it was a long time ago, yeah.
So for me, what I'm thinking is a girl who's lived in Toronto and in Morocco and in Saudi and is now in India, how do you know who Nora Fatehi is?
The beauty of who I am is very diverse. It's very multicultural and very cosmopolitan, just like Toronto. Toronto is a very multicultural and cosmopolitan city. And my friend circle was very diverse. I had friends from Kenya, Somalia, Guyana, Jamaica, Nigeria, India, China. Like, everybody's
Can
diverse.
I now be your Pakistani friend?
I had Pakistani friends too,
I
you
know,
know
but
what
can
I
I
mean?
be
You
your
can, of course you
Okay,
can,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, don't reject my friendship, like, live on camera.
No,
Thanks
I
a lot.
would never. I couldn't. But so that's what made me who I am. I'm just, it's a rainbow, and I love it. And that's why wherever I go, I can assimilate. So even if I go to a Saudi, for example, I'm a chameleon. I'll assimilate. I'll, respect the cultures and the traditions and the rules, and embody that. And that's what helped me when I went to India. I could have had this crazy cultural shock and said, and packed my bags and went back. But no, I was like, all right, let's do this. This is a challenge, and I'm going to do this. And I love that.
The songs that you referenced that you grew up on or that you performed on, Aaja Nachle, Mahi Ve, Devdas, it's a dream. It's not real Bollywood. So when you went to Mumbai and you got your foot in the door and you were struggling and you were getting roles, at what point did you realize that this isn't the dream that you thought it was?
Well, I think just from the beginning in itself, when you realize you got to put in the work, when you realize that, okay, wait, I'm like way, way behind everybody. I still got to learn the language. I still got to learn the ins and outs, how the roller coaster is roller coastering, right?
Yeah.
Like, I got to learn all of that. I have to get my foot in the door. I got to go audition.
What was that experience like?
I have to sit in a room of 200 people and sit for hours. And then when you get in front of the camera, it's do or die. It's now or never, How do I differentiate myself from the others? So there's a lot of that goes on. And I think when the penny dropped for me was when so many people were like, oh, like, you want to be like the next Katrina Kaif, or do you want to be, the next big star here? Here's what you need to do. You need to do like films as a lead. Don't overexpose yourself. Don't let anyone see you much. Then after that, you need a film that really works, and then you're going to be a heroine. Then everything is going to be easy for you. Then the brands will come, then the deals will come, then the big heroes will come, etc., etc. Then if you want to do like a song here and there, it's fine. Or if you want to do a TV show, it's fine. But that's later. But I was like, I'm not someone who has those privileges. So I cannot follow this formula. I'll have to do it my way. And my way was, first, the world needs to know who I am. So I have to introduce them to me. Then they need to like me. Then they need to see what I bring to the table. If they can't see my acting now because nobody's giving me a chance, whatever chance I get, whether it's my personality that they need to see, whether it's my dancing they need to see, whatever it is, whether it's just my comedy on social media, but they need to see something. And that's how I built the building blocks. Started with, I did act first. The films didn't do well. Went into songs, went into South songs.
You were in Bahubali.
I was in Bahubali, so I was getting lucky in songs. I was dancing thinking that these people think I'm a trained dancer, but like I just learned in my room. But chalo, let's do this. You know what I mean?
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Really paying attention to what the choreographer is showing me and working really hard on set. So that worked for me, got me a lot of attention. So I said, let me build a brand called Nora Fatehi, and then people will have to give me films. People will have to work with me because I have the support of the audience and the branding. So that is how I did it. It may work for some people, it may not, but it worked for me. And now finally, I'm doing films as a main lead. I've got 4 films this year. This year I get to showcase my acting, which is what I actually came to India for. But nonetheless, I've always wanted to be someone who can do acting, dancing, singing, everything. So I don't complain. I'm very happy with the opportunities. They just didn't come the way everyone said they should come. They just came in, scattered ways.
You know what's so admirable, apart from your skills, is your positivity. Because you've mentioned in another interview as well, but even now listening to you, any other girl in your situation would have cracked. Like anybody else would not have the resilience that you do to still have this much optimism about something that is taking so long or that has not gone the way it's supposed to go. Like, it sounds awful.
It does. Look, at the end of the day, I'm also a believer of faith, I do believe in destiny and what's written for you and God's plan. So whatever comes in the time that it comes, I believe God does that because it's good for you in that moment. So maybe God didn't want it the other way around, because maybe one flop film as a heroine with a hero would have just X'd me out completely.
Yeah.
And moving on. And that happened to a lot of girls. Maybe I had to come in a different way to people to pay attention to me, for me to create my place and my niche so that nobody can take me out. So once you create your space and it's solid, then you can start branching out. Then there's no way of you being, X'd out or removed. And that's kind of how I looked at things. And also, any opportunity is a great opportunity for me. Even 5 minutes on screen, I'm like, yes, that's me,
What you went through and how you are thriving right now, when you see girls who are 5 or 10 years behind where you are right now, have just landed in Mumbai, are just going into those auditions, would you still encourage them to join this profession?
If it's meant for them, yes, why not? They'll know if it's destined for them. You just know. Like, if it's destined for you, certain opportunities will come to you. You will nail those opportunities. You'll meet certain people that will open doors for you. That's how you know something is meant for you. When it's not, it'll just have a lot of blockage, and it will divert you to where you're actually meant to be. And that's just how I believe.
What I meant by was, when did you realize that the dream wasn't what you thought it was? Is because the films that you grew up watching are not the films that are being made now. I love Kal Ho Na Ho, like you mentioned, Devdas, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham, that early 2000s era of Bollywood that a lot of people in the UK and Canada and America grew up
the
on.
NRIs, yes.
They don't make movies like that anymore.
They don't make movies like that, and I would love if they did, but also our audience is different now. The generation is different now, So we kind of have to adjust to the times. But having said that, Sanjay Leela Bhansali still makes those kind of films. Padmavat, Bajirao Mastani, So, and when those films come out, I know they don't come out every year, but when they do, it's a treat. It's a moment. You go to the cinema and you're in this world, and you start to really appreciate it. And one of my dreams is to do a film like that one day, to get into his space, to work with him. Whether it's destined for me or not is a different story.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
let's manifest it.
I'm definitely doing that every day.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that there are still directors like that making movies, but we're at a point in Hindi cinema right now where producers will watch the rushes of their film, they will panic because the film's not very good, and they will say, we need a Nora Fatehi song in this film. Like, we are at that point, and you know it as well. You know it. You've got those panicked calls from producers where they're like, have you got dates in the next 2 weeks? We need to record a song. And they know that having a song with you in it will help their movie. How does it feel to be in that position where everybody needs you?
Damn, I don't know if everybody needs me,
They need you.
But it's crazy. Oh, God. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. Definitely, it gives me a certain sense of empowerment, and I feel like, all right, okay, I have a responsibility, and if I do say yes and I do come on set, I give them everything. I give them my time. I rehearse for hours. I make sure I take every detailing down to the costuming, the hair and makeup very seriously. And when I'm in front of the camera, I really deliver. So it's not oh, you need me? All right, cool, I'm here. I'll just do 2-3 steps and leave. It should be good enough. At least I'm standing. No, I'm like, let's do this. It becomes a teamwork situation.
I'm smiling because I know that firsthand, because you and I sat down on the sets of Street Dancer 3D in London when you were shooting Go Me, and it was in this nightclub in South London, and it was in the middle of the day, and I came there to interview you and Varun, and Varun's quite switch on, switch off, like he'll just go do the moves, but you came in feisty as hell because
Yeah.
you were in character. You had those red, like tight curls. And when I met you, I was in my head, I was thinking like, oh, she's not very nice to me.
She's a little sassy.
Yeah, what's wrong with her? But you were in character, so you know. You give yourself so much.
I mean, now you get it. Now after you saw the song, you're like, okay, I get it.
I get it. Like, she was in that mode. But is it not physically exhausting when you give that much, both in the dance and in the roles as well?
Sometimes it is, but then when I see the end result, oh my God, I get so happy. I still, till today, I'll see myself and hype I'm like, oh my God, look at her. It's me, I'm talking about myself, you know what I mean? Like, get it, you're so amazing. I get really excited. So even all the exhaustion, all the tiredness, I don't even remember it anymore once I see the end result. Like, I just get so proud. It's like that little girl in Jane and Finch in Toronto who's like, I cannot believe I'm doing this.
Have you ever been disappointed in yourself on screen?
Never. Never.
Because I find as humans, and particularly people who work in front of the camera, they're more likely to be more self-critical.
No. I'm my own hype man. I can't tell you. Like, if someone says anything critical, I'm just like side-eyeing because I know where I came from.
So, you know, to everybody who does feel that way, what would you say to them? Like, people who are self-critical, who do feel like, I could have done better, or I'm going to do better next time. Like, how do we learn to live in the moment and appreciate what we've done so far?
You just have to, because, you know, if okay, so for example, the reason why I'm not like that is because I know where I came from, right? And I knew how far away this dream was. So for it to be in front of me, I just appreciate every moment, right? Now, another thing is I'm not critical. However, I'll always want to upgrade. So like, for example, let's say I see a performance of mine. I'm like, oh my God, you killed it. Look at you. Yes, you did that. You ate and left no crumbs, right? That's me. But then I'm like, all right, girls. All right, now what do we do next? How do we up this? Doesn't mean it's not good. It's amazing for now. Next time, it's got to be another level. It's got to be a different genre. It's got to be different outfits. It's got to be different styles. So that's how I think. How do I give variety? But I'm always proud of myself.
We are living in a time and age where social media makes us feel like we're not good enough. Like, it makes us feel like everybody else is living a better life than we are. Like, they're making more of their opportunities as well.
Yes.
How hard is it to cut out all the noise that you see around you?
I think going back to what we just spoke about confidence, building up myself, hyping myself, being super proud, I think that allowed me to prepare myself for this era of social media. I've built a thick skin, I know who I am, I have self-validation. So people's validation is great, but because I have built myself on self-validation, if someone says something negative or trolls or someone bullies me, it doesn't affect me anymore because my inner voice has already hyped me up so much that there's no room for someone to bring me down. But I do notice that people can get highly affected by that, about trolls and people who leave really bad comments. And it's really hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. It is hard. But I have just taught myself to create this wall and to love myself so much that nobody can bring me down. And I think that is why I perform the way that I perform. Had I allowed any of them to intercept my walls, that's where you start to see, you know, problems in my performance, problems in my aura and my body language when I'm in front of the camera. So that wall is super tight. There's no cracks at all.
Right now, Bollywood is in this really weird space, is the best way I can describe it. Great for you, because everybody needs a Nora Fatehi song in their film, but not great for Nora Fatehi, the actor, the one who wants those opportunities to perform, because creativity seems stifled to a large extent. You know, what we're seeing most of is remakes of South Indian movies or formulas that are tried and tested and are a little bit stale at this point as well. Do you think Bollywood will survive this current period that it's going through?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, it's just a bad patch. It's just a storm that's going to pass. And it's also a time for Bollywood to go through the evolution. So there's always an evolution that occurs and you got to assimilate through that. And that's all that's going to happen. OTT is coming in the mix. So how people are going to make certain content that will fit OTT and how they'll make certain content that will fit the theater. I think the audience has changed, you know, and I think just the filmmakers need to read the audience a little bit better and make things according to them and be less scared. I think when they're constantly in fear, they're not going to be able to create, because creators cannot be in fear. When you're in fear, you block the energy that comes into your mind to make magic happen. So right now I think there's a lot of fear that's occurring. When you say it's great for me, it's funny you say that, because in a year, if let's say like 10 songs are offered to me, I'll just say yes to one or two, to be honest. And sometimes I don't even say yes to any of them, because I don't want to bore the audience too, right? How many songs can you do, right? How many? If they're good,
keep them coming.
Why not? I never complain, but they can't just be good. They have to be fantastic.
Yeah.
They have to be like explosive. And sometimes they're not. And sometimes also I'm like, okay, I need to, balance is good. Everything in moderation is good. A few songs here, some acting roles here. I can't do so much songs also, because what happens is people in our industry can kind of get into the space of typecasting, and they don't see anything but that. And then you have to kind of like open their eyes, unfortunately. Because they're also in tunnel visions. So if I keep doing so many songs, they're gonna be like, well, anytime they think of a song, they just think of me. But anytime they think of a role, they'll never think of me, when I don't want that.
Yeah.
And for me to just do the roles I'm doing this year took a lot. It took a lot of me going into people's offices and be like, hello, like, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm
But
here.
For some reason, it's like if anybody says the words belly dancer, they'll think Nora Fatehi. If anybody thinks, like, I think after street dancer, if anybody thinks of that style of dancing, they'll think of Nora Fatehi.
Urban, hip-hop.
Yeah, like they'll think of Nora Fatehi. When somebody thinks of actor, Nora Fatehi wouldn't be the first name that comes.
So now for me that's a new challenge, and I need to work on that, and that's what I'm doing this year. I already said to myself last year, like 2023 will be the year where people will see me act. I may not be like Oscar award performer,
Hey, let's manifest that as
like,
well.
but for now, as long as I can showcase my ability to emote and to understand screenplay and how to perform even 50%, and to get into that door, is very, very important for me, and this is the year for that.
I've got some very, very important questions for you.
Yeah.
Chicken shawarma or beef shawarma?
Beef shawarma.
Really?
Yeah.
Gets a bit dry sometimes. doesn't it?
Sometimes, but I'm not even a shawarma girl, to be honest with you.
So when you worked in the shawarma shop, you were not?
Not really. I like burgers. I would eat the burgers more mainly.
And then shisha flavor of choice?
Double apple.
I'm keeping it classic. I like it.
I don't do that much anymore, because like I'm a performer and I perform on stage for like an hour.
Yeah.
So I have to like make sure my lungs are like healthy.
So no shisha, but also diet. You eat clean, right? Like the cookie is a...
No, I don't diet.
At
I
all?
just eat whatever I want to eat based on my mood.
Is it true you don't go to the gym either?
No, I don't go to the gym. I swim though. I swim a lot. I dance.
Yeah, but like you're not on a diet. You're not going to the gym. You look amazing. You perform like a dream. Like, give us the Nora Fatehi secret to life.
But tell me, how do I do a gym or diet? Like, I'm on set for, let's say, 14 hours, okay? And then post that, I gotta go to the rehearsal hall and rehearse for what I'm doing. Like, for example, for IIFA, I was rehearsing every day, and I was shooting for my film every day. So I get only like 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep, dancing for 2 hours at rehearsal. That's the gym in itself, and then shooting the whole day. I would die if I was like in the gym and dieting. I would be such a cranky person.
I mean, Nora, don't bother going to the gym. You are amazing as you are. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.